So today we're going to set up our notes for angle relationships. We're going to do part of the notes on video, and then when you are done, we're going to finish the rest of the notes live in class. Okay, so we're going to start off by setting up your lines. So if you've not set up your lines on your notebook, go ahead and do that now, and you can pause this video whenever you need to catch up with your notes. The title of our notes today is going to be angle pair relationships. Angle pair relationships. And I'm going to go ahead and move this more to the center so it don't look so crazy. All right. I know you guys can't do that. All right. And then make sure you date your notes for today. Make my line straight again. Okay. And today's date is October 21st. That's when I'm making this video, so you guys use whatever today's actual date is. All right. So before we start talking about angle pair relationships, right, the relationships that angles have with each other, we have to first understand angles. So our first topic is going to be all about angles. So I'm going to put that in my topic section. Okay. And I'm also going to put an example of an angle here that we're going to talk about. So the example of the angle I'm going to put is going to be this one right here, and we'll talk about it as we're doing our notes together. So I want you to draw this for me. And you guys notice those points I have, we're going to go ahead and actually label those points as well. And this should be review from last year or 2 years ago, but if you forgot, that's exactly why we're doing these notes. All right, so this is a 60-degree angle. So the first thing that we are going to talk about are the parts of an angle. Okay, so parts of an angle. Okay? So an angle is formed by two rays with a common endpoint. Okay, so a ray is like something like this, right? A line that has a stop on one side and continues on the other. All right, and so what we have in our angle is we have two different rays. So one is here and one is here, but they have a common endpoint, right? They meet somewhere, and that's what makes it an angle, is they have this angle that's created when they actually meet together. So knowing that, we're going to say that the common endpoint, so for our example right here, the common endpoint is right here, okay? The common endpoint is called a vertex. Hopefully this is something you remember. So the common endpoint is called a vertex. And I'm going to highlight that because that's a vocab word. Okay, so in our example, our vertex is the point B. That's our common endpoint. All right. So when we talk about angles, there's a very specific way that we talk about them. So let's talk about how do we name angles? How do we name angles? It's like naming a baby. How do you talk about someone? All right, how do we name angles? I'm going to underline these so it's easier for me to identify my sections, okay? So first of all, when we talk about angles, I'm a math teacher. I don't got time to write the word angle every single time I'm talking about them. So the symbol for an angle that we're going to use is this. It literally looks like a little angle, kind of like a crooked L. That's the symbol that we're going to use every time we talk about an angle. All right, so instead of writing the word angle, I'm going to use that symbol. Okay? And angles, the way we talk about them, so angles are usually named using 3 letters. Okay, angles are usually named using 3 letters, and the middle letter so of the 3 letters, the middle letter must always represent the vertex. So when we talk about an angle, we always use 3 letters to name it, but we have to make sure that the middle letter is the vertex. Okay? So for example, in our angle that we have at the top, okay, we can call this angle A, B, C. Okay, so I can call this angle A, B, C, and B has to be my vertex. Right, it's that middle point. Or I can call this angle C, B, A. C, B, A. Okay, so there's 2 ways that I can name my angle. So I'm going to point out that I have my vertex in the middle. I don't like my line. That I have my vertex in the middle for both names, okay? Or the last way you can name your angle is just calling it angle B. I can use it just using the vertex. So they're usually named with 3 letters, but I can also use 1 letter, okay? So now we know about our angles. The last thing we want to talk about is angle measures, okay? Last thing we want to talk about is angle measures. So if we look at our angle that we have in our example, the measure of this angle is 60 degrees. It's a 60-degree angle. So the way that we talk about this is we want to say the measure of angle ABC is 60 degrees, all right? But like I said, math people don't got all this time to write out these huge sentences. So instead, another way that we can write this is the measure, lowercase m, of angle ABC is 60 degrees. I'm going to move that to the bottom because I didn't have enough space to write everything I wanted. Okay? So the measure of angle ABC is 60 degrees. And I can write that whole sentence like this right here in math terms. Okay? So let's keep going. All right, now that we know how to talk about angles, we're just going to set up our notes for the next part, the next notes that we're going to take all together, okay? So now we're going to talk about angle relationships. Okay, now we're going to talk about angle relationships, and I'm running out of space, so I'm going to put that onto the next line. All right, and there are going to be 4 types of angle relationships that we're going to talk about. All right, there are going to be 4 types of angle relationships that we're going to talk about. So what I want to do for this section is I'm going to split my paper up into 4 sections. So I only have this little bottom bit left. So I'm going to draw a line across. I'm going to draw a line about halfway through. And then I'm going to split that again. So I should have 4 sections like this. And give yourself a good amount of space to write. Okay? After I have my 4 sections, I'm going to split that up again. So I'm going to put this down. I'm going to draw a bottom line too so you guys can see my 4 sections. All right? I'm going to bring this down. Oops. All right, and there I have my graphic organizer for my notes. All right, so we can talk about the 4 different kinds of angles. Okay. The last thing we want to do is actually just write the names of the angles. So all we have to do is just take the notes as a class. All right. So the first type of angle, I'm going to change my highlighter color too. The first type of angle is called vertical angles. The second is called adjacent angles. I don't like how that's not centered, so while you guys are writing, I'm going to move this down a little. Okay, adjacent angles. Next, we have, this is a longer word, so hopefully you have space. Next is complementary I'm going to run out of space. Complementary angles. Okay. I'm just redrawing my line so that it's there. And then the last one is called supplementary angles. And I think you guys might be able to hear my parents in the background. Supplementary angles, just like that. Okay? And then the rest of the notes we're going to complete together as a class. So good job on getting all these notes done. I'm going to just highlight using different colors for myself so that when we're talking about these angles, I can identify them. But if you don't have all these different colored highlighters, that's okay. All right, and that is it. So these are our notes for today. If you need to use a new paper, that's okay. But they should look just like this, and then we're going to finish them together in class.